Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. The new festival, normal slash rare festival in Master Duel, so this is pretty much the first day, right? And I already, was prepared, testing some decks in the duel rooms beforehand. And I was testing out Metalfoes as well, probably one of the best decks, presumably one of the best decks, for the most obvious reasons. Again, Konami decided not to hit Metalfoes other than, other decks as mentioned before. One of the previous videos should be linked here in as well, but I decided to change the build a little bit, as in the build that I had up before, the Metalfoe True Draco build, which again is an okay hybrid, but it's quite boring, I guess. You know how Metalfoe True Draco works. I decided to switch it up with FA. And reason being, I think the most logical one is that the FA package added in the deck is, the reason is that when they are destroyed, and I'm looking at the field spell, or the 3 field spells actually, this is one of them, when they are destroyed by a card effect, so like one of your Metalfoes, any Metalfoe, you'll get a search, at least you get to search any FA cards, so you can like search another field spell from the FA archetype, or depends, their monster, and I'm only running one monster, the Hang On Mech, I believe the name is. It's, they will gain attack every time you activate FA spells, for example, plus, they'll increase their level, and I believe when your mech is level 7 or higher, it will become a macrocosmos effect for your opponent, so all cards from their field eventually will get banished. When they are sent to the graveyard, that is. So that's very strong, but obviously the gimmick or the hybrid of the deck is of course very much focused on the fact that you'll just get so many free pluses, and as you see, something that I feel Konami should have hit as well for this festival is Metalfoes counter. That's the trap that's set now three times. Already had one, I believe, in the opening hand, but this board is ridiculously good in this particular format. Then again, there are decks, well, first of all, as you know, when a card now would be destroyed on my side of the field, either by battle or by a card effect, it doesn't matter. It can be through my own Metalfoes, pendulum effect, destroy something. You can trigger all 3 counters, and counter is basically a hero lives, so it special summons a Metalfoe from the deck, preferably, the high level ones, the level 7 ones, because of, your odd eyes combination to get Vortex on the field, the fusion. But, I mean, look at this. You can, because again, a card was destroyed. Okay, I had to sacrifice one of my Pendulum Zones, but it's fine though, because it's one of the fusion spells. I will use it in a couple of moments, but, I mean, look at this. In some, slower format like this, slower as in no Ash Blossom, Mexi or whatever, the vomit your entire hand to the field. This is extremely powerful, like dropping 3 Metalfoes on the field. Definitely 2 of them being, 2 level 7s, you can go for your Odd Eyes Exceed, go for a Link Summon like Crush Sheep for example, that will trigger the Vortex Summon, so that's already an Omni negation on the field because of Vortex. And again, that will trigger Crush Sheep to reborn something from the graveyard, so you see the hybrid, this deck is really insane. You can definitely go first, you can definitely go second. I don't know if I want to go first or second, probably first. Because as you saw, I believe this is one of the examples where I'm going to end on a superb board, like one fusion for example, that can be Orihulk, I believe the name is, or Mithrilium. Both are fine. Mithrilium might be better since it can potentially threaten an opponent's back row or something like that during your next turn, plus it can recycle your Metalfoe spells and traps. So this is fine, because again, if your opponent is able to destroy one of your cards, or attack over your Hang On Mech, your FA monster, you can just trigger all 3 counters, plus, let's not forget, counter also has a graveyard effect, that's, you can banish it, not in the same turn when it's sent to the graveyard, to get a Metalfoe from your extra deck back to the hand, so, like it's really a crazy card. So draw one of the field spells of the FA archetype, that's fantastic. Here, and that's the thing with this meta game, I guess, is I'm probably giving my opponent too much credit. Again, I don't want to run into, let's say, a Bottomless Trap Hole or a Torrential Tribute, which I definitely have, like using all 3 counters at the same time, and then your opponent like dropping a Torrential Tribute on you. That's something you don't really want. So Orihulk is there, so now we get information that my opponent is playing the Time Lord Burn deck, which is Normally, it wouldn't be a problem, but as you saw, this deck is not really running any of the generic traps, Dynamicus, Last Wind, and so on. So now I'm really low on life points, and I'm not too familiar with the burn ban list. I thought most burn cards were banned, so I'm not sure if Justice Zerts is legal as well, and I was like, I can't risk it, so I link away for Cross Sheep. I'm not sure why my opponent is using Compulse on his monster and not on Cross Sheep. I might be missing something. So again, use the Metalfoe, pop the field spell, the field spell will trigger, searching any FA card from the deck. Again, that will trigger the counters here. I'm definitely going to activate all of them, plus a combination, the Continuous Trap, I feel is just fine as a one-off. If you fusion summon, just flip it face up. It's basically a free monster reborn every time you fusion summon. So search one of the other field spells of the FA. They have some beneficial effects which could be crucial, but for now, most of the time they'll just be Tribute Father. So here again, I'm probably overthinking the situation again, but I don't want to play into what I was thinking, like more burn cards like Justice Zerts. And here, the balance of judgment is fine. My opponent will just get one draw. I'm not going to negate that, so make sure that, Vortex still stays intact, because I saw that one of the cards that I, destroyed earlier was Dimension Wall, which is basically a magic cylinder. So again, you want to keep the Vortex, a live Vortex in play every time. Mithrilium, again, an Omni Interruption, I guess, so send back 2 cards. And there it is. So the Vortex is going to negate banishment, and if there is no Battle Fader or whatever, we know at least one of the cards in hand is one of the Time Lords, right? The one that, like, difference in life points, etc, etc. But this is indeed going to be game. So you see the power of Metalfoes, like going first, destroy a couple of your cards, preferably your FA cards, for example, to get those free searches. Set up a couple of counters, Metalfoe counters, right, to trigger them during your opponent's turn, preferably. But, and this is the last one, but this was a good duel. It's against Yosenju, and again I go first, and this is, I feel, definitely a good opening. I'm going to end. You will see. Is that one of the cards here is Bismugear. It's the effect Metalfoe in hand. It's like a Sengen of the deck. So most of the time you definitely want to trigger or destroy that, because it will trigger a search during the end phase. But I was like, well, I have, like, at least I eventually will have 3 counters ready in play. So if my opponent is, able to destroy one of my cards, my Pendulum Scales or Hulk, I'll, get 3 special summons, and during the next turn I can banish all 3, potentially all 3 of my counters. So now that's fantastic, right? I can recur my Pendulum Scale and so on. But now we see my opponent is playing Yosenju, and that's fine if my opponent is not opening with Kama 1, because as you know, Kama 1 has that compulsory effect, so it will dodge counter at the same time. It won't trigger because, it's not destroyed. And, like, I think he has a perfect hand for Yosenju. I've tried Yosenju, but it lacks consistency. You can't run the pot cards, Extravagance, Duality, Card of the Mice as well. So you have to, like these opening hands, you have to open with those and potentially go second, obviously. Like Kama 1, the Searcher, and so on. To, have some chance and hope that your opponent will not negate the first summon. Again, a big weakness of the deck. Anyway, so I have to, kind of recover from that, and that was a big blow, since, again, there is no, at least I wasn't prepared for that. There is no way that I can Pendulum Summon now, because I think I all have high skills. Again, those counters in grave previously, if my opponent would destroy something, they definitely could have helped out, but again, that Kama 1 prevented the destruction. So I go, well, not all in, but go for damage, and again, I don't think there is a need to go for any extra deck play, because again, my opponent will just bounce one of them, so just leave the 2 beat sticks on the field and get 2 searches during the end phase. So one of them because of the Bismugear, and what was the other one? I'm probably, or was it a draw? I'm not sure. It was, my opponent used Mystical Space Typhoon on combination. So this is all fine. I was like, I'm definitely going to survive this one, because of counter, right? I can special summon another monster from the deck if my opponent, is kind of, destroying my monsters, but he kind of makes a strange move, only attacks directly, so he will get a search. We know is it Chuk? The Honest-like hand trap. And again, all monsters will be bounced back and 2 sets. And I know that Yosenju has a trap card that I believe you have to reveal Yosenju cards in your hand and then bounce back cards from your opponent. So I was like, okay, that might be set. So I need to play around that. And I go for the Fusion Summon first. Mindset of, you know, putting up Metalfoes, yeah. Send back a couple of fusions, since I'm really low on Metalfoes spells and traps in the deck. All goes through, so hit one of the cards. Okay, that goes through, that's fine. So next plan is to, you know, again in mind that the Icarus attack alike card might be set. So trigger counter, special summon something from the deck, and potentially I should be going for, I guess, a Cross Sheep play. Again, triggering the FA spells. Again, when they are destroyed, you can search any other FA card from the deck. You can recycle through your FA spells or search your monster, your Macrocosmos-alike card, right? Your level 4. That's the one. Hang on mech. Normal summon, I should be going for Cross Sheep. Yeah. So that's fine, everything goes through, and again, Metalfoes trigger, special summoning something, and you know the deal. And again, maybe I'm giving my opponent too much credit. I don't know. So I go for another Cross Sheep to, again, trigger and go for Vortex. Not special summoning the Vortex, because again, I want to go for a full Pendulum summon, even though, and this is something I should have seen coming, I know the Yosenju, they play the Pendulum one, that's kind of like a Battle Fader-like card. And I now know that Vortex is not able to negate something, because again, I don't have a Pendulum monster in my extra deck to be sent to the deck, you know, in order for Vortex to be activated. But I go for the Suicide Crash, eventually, right? And this should be game, because Vortex now is live and could negate any form of disruption. So it was a small mistake. I should not have used the, whatchamacallit, the last Metalfoe from the extra deck, and just should have used the one in my hands. And then, you know, that will eventually trigger Cross Sheep as well. Again, it wasn't too important here, but it could have been important for lethal damage. So as you saw, I mean, the deck is quite crazy, and in this particular format where spell and trap destruction and hand traps and generic traps or whatever are you know, the more logical best cards in the game are not legal, this deck is probably one of the best, if not the best. Right. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Leave them signing out. Peace.